In Activity 6, Modeling Planet Sizes, students first apply what they've learned about circles and calculate the radii for scale models of the planets. The students then make a scale model of each planet in the solar system to compare the relative sizes of the planets. You'll need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 6, Parts A and B, cardboard squares, drawing compasses, black construction paper, 1 metric ruler, masking tape, and 1 sheet of blue construction paper. You'll also need to provide black markers, scissors, a basketball, a marble, a baseball, and a BB. Note that BBs require a permit to purchase in some states. Substitute a small bead or other object if necessary. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 6, Parts A and B for each student. Cut the sheet of blue construction paper into 5 centimeter squares, 1 for each team. Each team of 2 will need a ruler, a drawing compass, a cardboard square, 1 sheet of black construction paper, a 5 centimeter square of blue construction paper, a pair of scissors, a black marker, and access to the masking tape. To begin the activity, review the concept of relative size with students and discuss the size of the following objects with them: a basketball, a baseball, a marble, and a BB. Then ask students how they think the sun and the planets compare with one another in size. Remind the class of how they used scale drawings in the previous activity to visualize the relative sizes of actual objects, and suggest that scale drawings may be useful in investigating the relative size of the planets. Next, review with the class the names of the planets in our solar system, in order of their distance from the sun. Then, choose a planet and write the planet's actual diameter to the right of its name on the board by referring to the chart in Figure 6.1. Ask students, can you make your model the same size as the actual planet? Students should respond that no, an actual planet is much too big to make a model of the same size. Explain to the class that in this activity, they'll make scale models of the planets that are much smaller than the actual planets, and remind students that to show the relative sizes of the planets accurately, the same scale must be used for all models. For the sake of this activity, define the scale for the classroom models as 1 centimeter to 5,000 kilometers. Then write the scale diameter for the planet to the right of the actual diameter. Ask students, if this is the diameter of your planet model, how would you calculate the radius? Students should recall that they can calculate the radius of the diameter by dividing it in 2. Distribute Activity Sheet 6, Parts A and B, and direct students to the chart. Tell students to calculate and write down the measurements for the scaled model radii for only the planets in the right-hand column, and then review students' answers and come to a consensus for each radius as a class. Note that students will scale the sun's diameter and radius at the end of the activity. Next, distribute the materials to the class and instruct students to use the square of blue construction paper to make the model of Earth and the black construction paper to make models of the other planets. To accomplish this, students will place the construction paper on the cardboard, measure the scale model radius of the planet, set the drawing compass to the scaled radius, draw a circle on the paper, and cut out the circle. Students should then label each planet with a piece of masking tape. Remind students to use caution when handling the compass, and make sure to tell them to keep the point of the compass away from their eyes. Note that the scaled radii of Mercury and Mars are too small to be measured with the drawing compass. Have students measure the scaled diameters of these 2 planets with their metric rulers, and hand draw the circles. Have the students arrange their models side by side in the same order that the planets appear relative to the sun in a display that will measure about 90 centimeters long. Ask students, by looking at your scale models, what else can you tell about the relative sizes of the planets? Most students will note that Jupiter and Saturn are much bigger than the other planets. Students may also remark that Earth is relatively small compared with the others. Guide students to realize that the planets are all different sizes. And finally, ask students, why do we not just compare their diameter measurements on the chart to visualize their relative sizes? Most students will assert that they can visualize the relative sizes of the planets better by looking at a model than they can by comparing numbers on a chart. Explain that although measurements of actual diameters can be compared to determine relative size directly, a model drawn to scale can give us a clearer and more vivid mental picture of the enormous differences in size among the planets. To conclude the activity, discard the paper scraps and return all materials to the kit. Make sure to have students store their scale models in a safe place. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.